It's always been about demographics with them, and there have been mass conversions to Judaism over the centuries that have made a mockery of the argument of them being a race. And this is a Jewish talking point. This is my response to him there, in line here. So I say they identify themselves as a race. They speak of the Jewish people, they talk of the Jewish race, and DNA testing shows them to be a race. The average Jew residing in Russia is 6 times as genetically related to a Jew from Syria or Palestine than they are to the average ethnic Russian, 6 times more related. They marry into elites to gain control of a country, but this is the peeling of the outer layer of onion with the rest remaining intact. The outer layer of Jews marries into the aristocracy or the plutocracy of a country, making the elite of the country largely comprised of people with a Jewish parent. Winston Churchill is a good example of an English aristocrat that was descended of an elite penetrating Jew. At least one of his grandparents was full-blown Jewish. Andrew Carrington Hitchcock recently did an analysis of the House of Lords in the United Kingdom and found 70 to 80% of the so-called English aristocrats in the House of Lords to have at least one Jewish grandparent. The high rates of exogamy, and that's exogamy means marrying out, breeding out. The high rates of exogamy the high rates of exogamy in the contemporary non-religious Jews of the United States is an exception to the rule. Jews are highly endogamous, and these 72% of non-religious Jews who marry out in the USA are marrying into the upper class, where the offspring typically act as anti-white radicals. The Jews who are religious will retain their high birth rates in the USA, other countries, and Israel, making it so the Jewish population will not. And then he goes on. So I just did my inline response there. And he goes on to say, they need the language and the rules of engagement, use it against us. Example, when there was an attack against a Jewish person, such as the Pitt thing, referring to Pittsburgh, they put on their news networks that it was a white supremacist that did it. Why does an attack on Jews turn into a racial white issue? Shouldn't an attack on a religious group be the result of a religious person, a Christian or Islamic supremacist, one ideology, instead of beliefs against another? The same thing happened in New Zealand. That is, the shooting of Muslims by a white guy. You're a smart guy, you can see the point. So this is where I think this guy's a shill. This is just an example of someone that's either a shill or gaslit writing me, trying to make it into a battle of ideas when Jews see themselves as an ethnic group that ethnically advocate for themselves. Trying to negate that point or trying to leave that out of the discussion is exactly what they want. And this is exactly what Halsey tried to do with me. This is what Jews do every time they debate with the Jew namers. They try and say, oh no, we're a religion, not a race. We're not ethnically motivated. Bullshit. So I responded with, Jews as a group in their elites have declared ending whiteness or white genocide in all white countries to be their policy. It does not matter how Jews frame things, because they always frame things to discredit their detractors. Murdering a bunch of low-level Jews will certainly gain their group public sympathy, whether it is viewed as racial or religious. The Jews have a racial religion. That is their religion, and they identify sooner as an ethnic group than they do as a religion. So your point is incorrect and moot. And so he goes on with another point you should get away from until you do more thorough investigation is the Nazi issue. They have now wrangled the language in such a way that if you are against them or saying anything against them, you are a white supremacist or neo-Nazi, racist. So to be white at all means you are genetically predisposed to wanting to annex, kill, destroy every other people on earth. And parenthetically, he says, sounds like Jews to me. And parenthetical. But that's the reality of what they're doing. They are turning the tables on the race thing and saying that it is in white DNA to be evil, etc. We can't win this argument because mine sort of thing, except they have all their state agencies at the back, lobbies in Congress defining and writing all this anti-Semitism, anti-BDS, anti-Jew, anti-Zionist, anti-Israel legislation. They have fostered this line of reasoning using Hitler and the Holocaust and they go as their go-to point in the final word of the argument. And so, first off, look at this. So he's trying to say because Jews project doing onto whites should be a reason to not claim that they're doing these bad things or to claim that they're not racially motivated. That doesn't even make sense. Jews projecting or Jews trying to frame the argument should not affect you. When you're dealing with Jews, you're dealing with mostly dishonest people, so you shouldn't allow them trying to frame things influence the way you frame things at all. So this is how I responded. I don't allow Jews to frame things. And trust in their media and their institutions is failing. Stop worrying about what Jews say and how they frame things. Always frame things from the point of view of your interests. You must demonize Jews, make yourself the victim of Jews, or advocate for your group, or do all this at once, as I do. Caring how Jews frame things, allowing them to frame things, and trying to sidestep the things that Jews want to have negative connotations with merely cedes all of the strategic high ground to the Jews. And I say, kind of in air quotes here, don't take the commanding heights because the Jews call you evil if you do, is what I'm hearing from people like you. So, basically, it's like saying that you're in a room and you go for the thing which would give you the ability to preserve yourself in that room. But the Jews have labeled that poison. It's not poison, it's the cure.